Hi, I'm Tom with Just One Pack, and this is AC On, the short Alpha Clash podcast where I'll talk all things Alpha Clash on my way to work. Only today I am not on my way to work, I am on holiday, and I left my equipment for doing these podcasts at home, so this is why the episode this week is a little bit late. I'm sorry for that. Anyway, I want to talk about spoilers for the next set coming out. We now know that Nexus of Power has been cancelled. So the next set, the next set coming out now is the accompanying set for the Siege of the Forgotten, the PvE, and it's called Spoils of the Forgotten. And we are indeed being spoiled. So let's go through some of it. Now, I am not going to go through every single card that has been spoiled. I would much more recommend you to go to the Discord channel, find the spoiler cards only announcement page, and you can see what cards has been spoiled there. What I do want to do is I want to point out a few things that I've noticed about the cards that we already have been seeing, and what they may mean. Right now, I haven't played the PvE, obviously, because it has not yet been released. So I don't know how to best. I have to play these things in order to get an idea of what is good or not. I can't just watch them, right? So one of the things is that I need to play the game, and before I can do that, I need to get the game, and the game is not coming out before August, I think. So we have to wait until the end of summer before I at least can say anything even remotely coherent about which pieces are good or not. So whether these pieces are specifically designed for the PvE, I don't know. I have a guess that they're not. But some of them may support specific problems that'll arise in the PvE mode, right? Some of them is just, they're support for already known strategies, right? So we have more support for streak counters on mean streak. We have more support for these buffs that Magnate does to his companions. We also have a bit more support for, at least to what I know, a bit more support for the alpha hunters hunting discarded and not alphas. So there is a bit of that where you get a little bit extra, but there are also some interesting bits, and or at least what I find interesting. So here's my take on what is interesting. Whenever I see a new set, I'm looking for those things that sort of stick out, right? That sticks out from what the normal usable text is, right? Something like if there's a reference to a new type of thing, if there's a reference to new mechanics that we didn't use before. Things like this is really interesting to me because that hints at what we might or might not get in the future. And that is the only kind of conspiracy theories I like. That is in these kind of games where we can play the guessing game, right? We can start saying, how would this mechanic or this style influence what I would choose to do in a given situation? And this is no different for me, right? So, and there is a few interesting tidbits in this game that I really, really like and like to point out too. So one of them is, besides all this support. Oh, no. A honourable mention before I dig down into those is that we are getting cards now with character names, right? Usually if we got things like Haven Resourceful Helper or Taking Chances, so you get the name, comma, something, right? And now in this we are getting just the name, right? There is no comma anything. It's just Haven Magnate, right? So there, I guess we'll have a series of that, and I hope that if they're doing special art or special treatment like the X-rays or gold foiling or something, silver foiling where we had before. I hope that is the set they will do that with. Right. So we have those. The single names. That is just. I think that could be so cool. So that's another wish on my wish list. And then I'm going to dig into what I've sort of stumbled across with these things. These are not the name things. There are a few. I'm going to go through them whatever I can make do. I want to make this a short podcast as well. One of the things is that there's a change. There's a change in the wording, at least to my knowledge. So I forgot to note the name of the card, but there's a 3-cost card, a clash card, that has an enter ability. And the enter ability says that you can look at a face down card. It's one of the Alpha Hunters. It is named after. He's a character in the book. Can't remember, and I didn't write it. Well, he can look at a face down card to see that. Those have previously been called traps. Now, a face down card is much more descriptive. I haven't looked up. At least I have noted that I've been looking up whether that is a term used before. But looking at a trap, meaning a face down card, and seeing if that is a clash card. Now, if that is a clash card, then you draw a card. The term face down card is interesting to me because now that does not have to be. There could be other stuff placed elsewhere face down, right? So you could have other effects that this mechanic would interact with if we should use face down cards. Other places than, say, your accessory zone. And I'm thinking of one of my favorite magic sets was Kaldheim, just because I like the theme. And they had this foretell thing where you could play something, foretell it, so you paid a little bit to play it, and then it was cheaper to get out. So spread the cost. Also, it is sort of trap-like. Now, maybe you could do that in other mechanics, because there are other things that pop up in this as well. That is just, for me, a foreshadowing that maybe we could do something else than accessories being face down, and maybe we can't. The other thing, another thing I sort of tripped on, to my understanding, unless I am playing Kagan, which explicitly says that he can have more than one tool attached, right? More than one contender weapon attached. A contender can only have one contender weapon attached. Now, the Avenging Guy is not Kagan, but there is a card called Avenging Guy with cosplay. It's a 3-cost clash card. In green, obviously, because Avenging Guy. And he gets +1/+1 for each card attached, not weapon, card attached to your contender. That tells me that there is something down the line that is attachable to your contender, but that is not a weapon, right? So something like Betches, I know they're a weapon, but something that says, oh, you can attach this and something else. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe we just get another contender that can attach multiple pieces. I don't know. I think it's interesting that it comes on Avenging Guy. I mean, a bow and a couple of arrows would make perfect sense. So that's an interesting bit that might hint for me what would be coming in the future. And the final point, at least to my nose, for what we've seen so far, is the Chowling known by demons that is manipulating with the cost of of the card. So it has an effect. It's a 3-cost 4/3 clash card in white that when it attacks, when it deals combat damage to, or if it deals damage, clash damage, to a contender, it can be treated until the start of your next turn as if it had a cost 1 higher than it has now, right? So that could leave in some protection. That also might play into other effects you can only do on big cards. I don't know. But there is a use for this. However, it's the first card we've seen that toys with manipulating its own cost in order to, in response to anything really. So making it act like it was more expensive. I'm thinking of it as a bit of protection, but it is really cool. It also has a different, it has a trigger attack, if I remember correctly, that makes it, if you can attack with it the second time. Well, if you can attack with it a second time and deal clash damage to a contender, it will trigger again. Now, not being a cost 4, or assumed a cost 4, now being assumed cost 5 to the next time. How you would ready that up and re-attack with it, I don't know. I haven't seen on the Shaolin Contender, to be honest, but there is cards that ready your clash cards, but not many, and they tend to be in the wrong spot for doing twice damage. Anyway, that was the 3 interesting sort of underhanded approaches to maybe let us know maybe be some sort of foreshadowing for something to come down the line. There is one honourable mention, or one last thing I want to mention, because there is nothing hidden in that information. They are just bluntly telling us that we will get a new type of clash tokens. The new clash tokens are streak clash tokens. They are 0/1s. You can't buff them or do anything weird with them either, but they are clash tokens, clash card tokens. So any effect with that was still functioning. I'm guessing they can collect streak counters if you're running sort of a streak counter deck. But the Haven card has an enter effect for 2. Well, it costs 2 blue to play Haven, or it costs 2 white, sorry. But you get a blue 0/1 streak clash card token, which I think is great. Let's have. I love tokens. Let's have more of that playing around with a different feel, and these are very likely to have a very different feel from War Minions, which is the clash tokens we have right now. So I'm very, very excited to get my hands on Siege of the Forgotten. I'm very excited to see what else comes out, and if I'm at all getting any of this right. Anyway, that's it from me. I will continue being on holiday, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.